All right, we're live. We're back with another broadcast. So as soon as people start showing up, just let me know if you can hear me all right. And if all the audio is good to go, then great. And if not, I will fix it and we'll go from there. So anyway, been a couple weeks and got a collection of news and stories and updates and previews that I was like, all right, well, it looks like we have enough here to actually do a stream that's worthwhile. I don't want to stream for the sake of streaming. If I'm going to stream, I want to be able to say something. So it looks like we have some updates and just want to catch up people on the Soulfinder hardcovers, how that's going, the rosaries, the Kiro rosaries. There's a lot of kind of comics previews that I want to show that I don't believe that I did on other streams. I want to cover Eric Canetti's Arc Athena, Common America 7, Black Hops Volume 6 previews. Tim put those out this morning. And there's all sorts of stuff. So I want to talk about all of this. And then maybe at some point in time, I did want to talk about this too, but that's another conversation. The mainstream industry, I am blocked by quite a lot of people, and every once in a while, someone will follow me, and I'll be like, "Oh, who's this?" Okay, I check, and it's crazy the number of people in the mainstream industry who have blocked me. I'm like, so I don't even know who the heck they are, and there is a pattern of who in the mainstream. I don't know if I'm on some list or something, some like LGBT whatever list or something like must block immediately, or I don't even know what. But it seems like if they got pronouns in their bio or they got all sorts of flags all over the place, I am blocked, which I think is very interesting. I'm already talking about this now. It's one of these things where it's like, I don't even talk about trans people. I don't talk about LGBTQ plus stuff. I don't even, so it's like, I'm like, okay, well, apparently I'm like enemy number one to the LGBTQ plus elemental P community, probably because I say elemental P when they do ridiculous things. So it's very weird. But I do want to talk about that because it's like one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, I'm a Catholic guy, so I suppose if just being Catholic alone is enough to be like, I gotta block that guy. You see the cross and you got to get away from it. That's kind of interesting too. But anyway, I might talk about that. This gets into the indie comics creator community. Doug, you got to be a part of the community. Do I? Or do I just need to care about Soulfinder readers? I don't know. I mean, why should I care about people that have come to all sorts of conclusions? Now, whenever these people block me, I just block them right back because I don't want to be accused of stalking these people. I don't want to they block you, then they're still going through their feed, then they're like flagging your content, trying to get you kicked off social media platforms. So it's like, all right, guy, Mr. Multiple Eisner winning artist, whoever you are, Aquaman, Invisible Kingdom, and more. You know, it's like, oh wait, no, you did. I apologize, Christopher Ward. Oh, we'll go to Rico. Color enthusiast, no longer mint guy, DC to CLT, coloring so many comics, Spider-Man. You want to block me? Okay, you're blocked back. Okay, whatever. We're done here. You have my email address if you ever want to be like, I was wrong. And then I might talk about some of this like Pfizer stuff. Joe Scarborough. I wanted to talk about Joe, like some media things. I shouldn't even care about Joe Scarborough. Nobody cares about Joe Scarborough on some level. But he does, political insider type people, sort of like an esoteric media thing. And I came from a media background, so it's one of those things where every once in a while, they still have a certain amount of influence and they say things. I'm like, you know what? This is so emblematic of other things going on within the media that might as well talk about it. So that'll be later. But for now, I wanted to focus on the iconic comic stuff. Mr. Grohovac, thanks for tuning in. Bianca, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. So yeah, Soulfinder, the hardcover books And the rosaries. So the Kiro rosaries, the first batch, there was 100 total made. I said this before. The metal that was cast, it was cast in Ukraine, so it was very hard to get because the guy who cast the metal, he disappeared off the map for a long time. People didn't know if he was alive, what was going on with him. Kind of a weird situation. Captain Cummings, thanks for tuning in. So he came back. I'm like, I'm alive. I can do the stuff. I don't think that they would mind me, disclosing this. I'm not disclosing his name or anything like that. And it's a very interesting story, actually. So he comes back. He's like, I'm alive. I'm finally able to like get back to work a little bit here or there. I could do these, but then you got to cast the metal. It's in Ukraine. Then they got to get the metal from Ukraine down to Texas, and it takes forever. So anyway, I got 100 of them, and it just took forever. And I really appreciate Rugged Rosaries for doing this for me because they didn't need to. And then they circled back with me when he was found out to be alive. So I got him. Anyway, the first batch, boom, sold out like within a couple days. And that was really cool. And then I needed to wait. They were like, okay, well, it was Christmas. We were able to get another batch. So now they did another batch of 50, 100 total. I took out a small percentage of the second batch, like 12 of them. I guess it's not that small, but it's for international customers. There's practicing Catholics that I know that would want some, and I might give a couple out as a Doug prize, that sort of thing. So anyway, Iconic Comics has like another 38, and then it's done for a long time. But I want to let people know because once they're gone, they're gone. And I was talking to somebody else yesterday. It was pretty interesting in that obviously a lot of Catholics get these rosaries, but there's a lot of non-Catholics that are very interested in them as well. And to me, it kind of shows, and this gets into a little religious stuff, how people are drawn to Christ, even if they're non-denominational or not even Christian. They're drawn in ways that they don't even comprehend. Because, how do I say this? With other religions, whatever they have, that whether it's jewelry or the equivalent of a sacramental or whatever you want to call it, I don't like want those items. I don't like go out and be like, oh, that's that, I want that, or whatever. But with these rosaries over the past couple years, it's been very interesting in that people are like, will literally say to me something along, and I'm paraphrasing, but sometimes it's literally like something along the lines of, I don't know why, but I like this and I want this. And to me, if somebody says, I don't understand why I want this, I just want it. I feel like it's just something that's going on at some sort of like metaphysical, supernatural level that they don't even understand. Because why else would you be like, I can't explain why I'm drawn to this particular thing, but I want this thing. So that's cool. Anyway, the rosaries, the Kiro rosaries are back. Thanks again to Timothy Lim for the original idea that he put into last summer's crossover book, and then was now incorporated into the Soulfinder universe. Now, speaking of Timothy Lim, also thanks to everybody who got the hardcovers the first week, because you got the free copies of Warcry, and the early bird special is still going on for a little bit. I'm losing track of time, but after the early bird special, the prices are going to go up. So if you did not get the hardcovers, then you might want to get those now. Matt, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. All right. So speaking of Timothy Lim, Tim also shared art from this summer's crossover, which is with Antarctic Press and Iconic Comics. And I can't get into the details, but if you don't follow Tim on Twitter, you might want to check it out, because it gets into Our Lady of Akita in Japan and Apex Moth and all sorts of stuff. These are really cool previews. Now, once again, these are things, it's so hard for me to keep secrets when it involves Black Ops or Common America, because I was in the car with Tim and Mark when they were talking about a lot of this sort of stuff, like months and months and months ago, if not like literally like a year ago. And so it's cool when you finally see it, because I can't say anything. You want to keep Tim's trust. Uh, so these previews are super, super cool. I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like, again, I heard little bits and pieces, and they were putting stuff together in the car as we were going to shows. And so if you liked last summer's crossover, then based on what I know about this summer's crossover, Black Ops 6, Black Ops USAGI, obviously, Black Ops X Iconic, X AP or Antarctic Press. Matt Weldon is involved with this. It's going to be good. And there's like one surprise that I think sometimes people are on like the right track, wrong track with the surprises. There's an element to this that people will not see coming. And when it is revealed, they will be like, "Oh." So check it out. Again, Black Ops 6 is looking muy excelente. And then Common America Volume 7 and Omnibus, the sign-up sheet is going on. So you can check that out on Kickstarter. They got over 1,500 signups for this. They already got Iconic Comics has its mailing list, and it's going to be very interesting to see. I can't wait for the launch of this. I know that's coming in early February. Rob Curro, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it as well. So yeah, 1,507 signups for Common America Volume 7 and Omnibus. I know a little bit about that. And again, can't say anything, but if you're a fan of Common America, if you've been following along with the storyline, I think you're really going to like this one. And people are like, Doug, you're biased, all this sort of stuff. Yes, I am biased, but I think I've been pretty accurate in terms of trying to say like, hey, listen, you might want to check this out. You're going to like it. The reaction after the fact has been like, oh, no, he wasn't bluffing. Let's see, Rob. Honestly, I think more characters from other series will start showing up more. We had Punchline characters show up in the Soulfinder crossover and Common America Volume 6. So yeah, you never know. But yeah, it's going to be a fun story, and I've seen some of the art. And we'll just say, again, if you like Tim's work, if you like Mark's work, then they just they're somehow able to keep up in the, I don't know, entertainment level. Turn it up to 11, turn it up to 12. So they're doing good things. Boom. Eric Canetti as well, Arc Athena. I don't know if you saw this. If you don't follow Eric on Twitter, check out his Twitter feed. He always has art that's coming out. He has cool stuff. But the hardcover books for Arc Athena Volume 3 are out, and they are super sharp. They got the sort of the heat going on these. So they are looking very good. I'm looking forward to that. The series, as it's gone on, has gotten stronger and stronger. More pieces of the puzzle are coming together. And I personally am glad that I've stuck around with it. So yeah, check that out. I don't want to give too many details about when, I don't know the exact date. I kind of have like a general overview of what's going to happen with like the release of this and how it's going to happen, but I don't know the exact details. But I don't think it'll be too long, because the books are literally at Iconic's warehouse. So be on the lookout for that. So boom, got that. Again, Black Ops. All right, boom. We already covered the rosaries, the Kiro. They are back in stock if you're just tuning in right now. Check those out. Boom. Oh, Common America, the manga. Tim posted an update for that. So that'll be coming out in the near future. If you enjoy manga, this is really good. I'm laughing in a very good way. You got some serious abs going on there. I'm really looking forward to this. I wanted to see how this played out. It's something that, I was talking to Tim and he's like, no, I think, X, Y, and Z with Soulfinder might be a good fit for manga. And I agree with him, but I am lazy compared to Tim and Mark. It's one of those things where it's like, I kind of just I've always been a distance runner. I've said this before. I have my pace that I'm just running at, and this is what I'm comfy at. I'm like, okay, boop, boop, boop. All right, I'll pick it up a little. I was doing one book a year. Okay, now I'll do like one book in a short story. Okay. So 2023, I'm going to do one book in a short story. And then it's like, well, 2024, do I want to do like 2 full books next year? Because for me, I like just doing research. I like reading on like nuclear submarines. I like reading on the Cold War. I like taking notes, reading spiritual books. And you could do research until the cows come home. I've said that before. But that I like reading and learning new things and then slowly incorporating them into the books. So Mark Pellegrini is here. Mark, thanks for tuning in. If you don't follow Mark on Twitter, might want to check out Mark's page as well. He is a connoisseur of all sorts of 80s cartoons and movies and horror movies and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, just check it out. If you like any of that kind of stuff, you like Ninja Turtles. Yeah. All right, Mr. Grohovac. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. James Patrick is here. Doing Amanda sounds more. Oh, a manga. Okay. Philip is here. Goblin. All right. Boom. So, all right. So, Common America, the manga, is coming out soon. The slate is full. So, if you look at what's going on just in early 2023, all right, so what do we have? We had Soulfinder Infinite Sin hardcovers came out. Then we'll just say, for the sake of argument, Arc Athena Volume 3 is going to be next. Then after that, the launch of Common America Volume 7. Then Black Ops Volume 6. Somewhere in there, Common America the manga. And then Soulfinder Volume 4 Saddle Stitch. I don't think I'll be able to get hardcovers done this year. I will try if things work out right. I don't even know what shows that I'm doing this year. I mean, I know Bell County Comic Con for sure. I got to talk to Tim. I got to talk to the head of Iconic Comics and see what shows are going on. I'll hopefully go back to Mobile, Alabama. I like that show. I like catching up with Matt and everybody. And there's some friends down in Alabama that I like to catch up with. So, but I don't know. I don't know if the Orlando thing is happening again. I don't know if we're going back to West Texas again. That would be cool. But I am definitely open to doing multiple shows. So anyway, again, if you look at the slate, just everything that people know is coming down the pike from Iconic Comics this year, it's a ton of stuff. Let's see. Rob Curro got the hardcover in War Cry recently. Yeah, no, that was something that I wanted to talk about too. I've seen some War Cry reviews up there, and it's been really cool. If you want to see a really good War Cry review, check out Art Table Talk. Nefertiti Seti, if you're tuning in, thank you for the fan art. She made a horse for Father Redder, who is Master Sergeant Stern. Stern is Ernst mixed up, so I don't know if she did that on purpose or if there's a famous soldier who is named Stern. I don't know, but my gut says she just said Stern because it's Ernst mixed up. Now, fun fact: my first serious girlfriend in high school, her last name was Stern, and I was like, "That's weird because it's Ernst mixed up." And then we dated for like a long time for high school, and then it ended horribly. But there's no people grow apart. You think that you're going to get married to your high school sweetheart. Doesn't usually happen. I did get married to my college sweetheart, though, so that was cool. But anyway, Nefertiti Seti, thank you for that. Anyway, the War Cry reviews. Check out Art Table Talks review. So let's see here. I don't know if you guys could hear this or not, but
let's talk about the story and get into some of my deeper analysis of how this works and why I think it works so well. How does um, how does Douglas Ernst tell a 12-page story and make it feel good and compelling? I think Weldon really paid off the trust that Ernst put in him, because I really do buy this emotional struggle that really just takes place across 2 pages in this story. That really makes everything come together. And we see that Father Redder is, in his own way, invested in these personal emotional struggles, even as he does battle with the dark forces of the world. So, really great storytelling. I really liked it. I admire the courage that Ernst had in writing 2 pages with almost no dialogue on them, trusting entirely in his artist to sell the story for those 2 pages. That's 1/6 of this story because it's only 12 pages. I mean, that is a lot. That is a lot of trust to put on an artist. The creative team has clearly bound together in ways that is very rare in comics creative teams from everything I've seen and read about the history of comics. This is a good story.
All right, so Art Table Talk, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. Let's see. There was one. Why am I forgetting it? It's hard when you're like, let's do. Oh, here's another one. This is art that came out. So RQ Paints, if you're tuning in, thanks for that. So RQ Paints did this fan art after reading Infinite Ascent of Stephen Pauck, the villain in this particular story. Creepy, nightmare fuel. Even blowing it up to this big is kind of freaking me out. But this nice oil painting, very cool. And I appreciate it a lot. So that's pretty cool. Matt says, I'm trying to decide what I want to put down on. I was strapped then the books first dropped. So the interesting about both Infinite Ascent and Warcry and all of these things, it's cool to see everybody's reactions. HVK, who recently interviewed with V, who interviewed Tim and Mark, check out their channel as well. Very good stuff. And that, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. So there was a good part of the discussion with HVK where essentially they were saying like some readers pay attention to detail and some don't. And then when they review it, as the writer or the artist, and you're listening to people review it, you like, for the most part, I know it never really say too much other than thank you for the review. I don't really want to say if I don't like a review. Like over the years, there's been reviews where in my mind, the person was totally like, I was like, how on earth did they come to this conclusion about this character or this part? I have no idea. And it's just a no-win situation to like argue with people that are like reviewing your books. So it's one of those things where it's just okay. So like there, I guess a long enough time has elapsed now where I could mention this one. So there was one review where the individual was confused about in Black Tide, like who is using his cell phone camera to take a picture of William Nebel's boat. And the weird thing was it was Father Redder, Chua, William Nebel, and Crane. They were the only ones in the scene. And you saw the panel, there was only one black guy in the entire group of people, and you literally saw his hands, which were black, and then you saw his outfit, the Soulfinder outfit with the red trim around it. So logically, you would conclude that the only black guy in the group of people, the only black guy who happens to be a Soulfinder, was the one who was taking the picture. I don't know how you can conclude anything else. But again, people who review your books will say things. And then it's like, if they don't show the panel in question and they're just like, I didn't understand what Doug was doing here, I was just really confused. And you're like, if show the panel, so your own viewers can see that you didn't pay attention to detail or something along those lines. But I can't do that. So I just have to be like, thanks for the review. Because even if I'm right, if I'm like, hey, I don't know what you're thinking here, look at the panel, dude, then I'm a jerk. Then I'm overly defensive or something along those lines. And you can't, so it's been a learning process for me. I mean, when I was on the blog years ago, it's the same thing. But you really, when it comes to some of these reviews, have to like just bite your tongue. Because Matt, thanks again for tuning. Matt here, Matt317. Glad to have the hardcover edition and Soulfinder Infinite Ascent along with Warcry. Great reads. So on the whole, I think people, even when you see reviews that are like dumping on your work or whatever, over the course of time, enough people will be out there and you will get a good idea of, did you hit the mark or did you not hit the mark? And from what I have seen publicly and privately, I've received some very nice emails from people. It seems like people are getting it. Godfo Universe. Deliver quality, deliver quickly. Thank you. So that's been something over the years that's been very interesting. And that will tie into something I was going to talk about earlier. So apparently there was this debate. I did not see this debate. I guess there was a live stream. I guess there was some stuff on Twitter. I've been busy mailing out books to people. Again, I don't know if you could hear this, but I'll play it. If you can't hear it, I'll just talk about it. So let's see.
Hey guys, hope all is well. So I'm sending some Soulfinder books out today to Los Angeles, Illinois, Missouri, and Mexico. And I wanted to tie this into this debate that I heard about in terms of whether you complete the books up front first before launching, or if you crowdfund, yada, yada, yada. I said before, I don't have anything in general against crowdfunding, but I do have something against people that denigrate those of us who do the work up front, who take on 100% of the risk on ourselves, who take 100% of the risk off the reader. If there is a creator out there or creators and you see them and they talk or they treat you like a stand-in for their bank, they want some sort of interest-free loan from you, you should watch that person. The person that you don't need to be worried about is the person who finishes the book, and as soon as the book's ready, hey, you want the book? Here's the book. They mail it out the next day or 48 hours later, whatever the heck it is. But if they're treating you like you are the person who's supposed to give them an interest-free loan that they may or may not pay you back, that's someone you need to watch. Anyway, talk to you later. See.
Okay, so again, like I said, because people like to twist things out of context, I don't have anything against crowdfunding in general. I literally just showed Timothy Lim and Mark Pellegrini's sign-up sheet for their crowdfund. I do not have a thing against crowdfunding in general. I've done it myself. I may do it again in the future. But what I do have a problem with, like I said in the video, is there are smatterings of individuals on Twitter and social media and YouTube who they weirdly and bizarrely go out of their way to denigrate people that finished the books up front. I took on 100% of the risk with Soulfinder Black Tide, soft covers and hard covers, Soulfinder Infinite Ascent, soft covers and hard covers. That's a lot of money. And I'm taking that risk off of the readers. If you contact me today at douglasernst.blog and you want the books and you're overseas, you're going to get the books. Or even if you're domestic and you're, for whatever reason, you just don't want to go through Iconic Comics, every once in a while I get somebody like that. They're just like, hey, Doug, can I just go directly through you and PayPal you? Sure, no problem, fine. I don't care, whatever. So there was a guy last year who was like that. I don't want to get into it. But anyway, like I said, I am perfectly capable of getting out books right away. Boom. sometimes within like 24 hours, sometimes the day, sometimes 48 hours, whatever. There's no real risk involved. So to me, whenever I hear of it's usually other creators that are not doing everything 100% up front. They got to find a way to like undercut what you're doing or make it sound like well, and it's like I don't do that to you, dude. And so again, that gets into, hey Doug, every once in a while there'll be these people and they will DM me or email me and they'll be like, I'm paraphrasing again. Doug, you got to be a part of the community, indie comics community of creators, Doug. Why? I care about my readers. I care about Soulfinder readers. I care about Iconic Comics readers. I don't care about other creators that go out of their way to actively kneecap what I'm trying to do or downplay what I'm trying to do. Like, oh, yeah, well, he literally spent, when you include labor, soft covers, hard covers for Black Tide and Infinite Ascent, and I said this last year, it was over $100,000 of my own money, my family's own money, as in my family, my wife and I, because we are a team, we are a joint effort or whatever. All of the risk on me. And actually, bizarrely, again, last year, there was an individual who was blasting me for talking about how much I spent on these soft covers and hard covers and the labor and all of this sort of stuff as if that's a bad thing. So apparently, if you do the books up front yourself, if you take on all the risk, you're not allowed to talk about it because people are then like, oh, you're bragging. No, I recycle the profits from the previous book into the new book. And with Black Tide, I definitely used more of my own capital up front. It was a risk on my part, and the risk paid off. So it's like, so these other creators that want you to be part of the creator community, they get to criticize you and tell you, oh, no, you shut up. You don't talk about the money, the capital that you put up for yourself. You're not allowed to do that. So one, we need to silence you. But then on top of that, they get to criticize you and they get to say on their own platforms that what you're doing is not that really big of a deal. Don't worry about that guy. He's just kind of like an aberration. He's a statistical outlier that you shouldn't pay attention. Sometimes you really should pay attention to the statistical outliers because you could learn something from them. Maybe the person that you don't want people to look at, maybe they can teach you a thing or two. Just saying. So these people are like, yeah, Doug. And then I'll get people occasionally like, so here's the other thing. You have these people that they spend all their time on social media and they're always involved in like weirdo fights and drama and creator feuds and all of this sort of stuff. And I'll get people that are like, Doug, you need to weigh in on this, Doug. Why? I have nothing to do. No, I don't want to weigh in on your issues. No, I'm not going to, no, I'm not doing it. Sorry. So when you don't engage with these people, then they say you're aloof. You're a diva. You think you're better than everybody else. You don't want to talk to other creators. You just think you're the bee's knees or whatever. So there's that. But then if you actually do get involved, or if you do try and offer like some sort of constructive criticism or some analysis with substance, that whatever, then they knock you for that. Then you're part of it all, and then you're a big problem with that. So I've just decided, no, I'm perfectly okay with people saying that I'm aloof and just whatever, and fine. I would much rather just do my own thing with Matt and Bill Williams and sharing Iconic Comic stuff. I don't want to be involved in all of your stuff. Don't DM me telling me to be a part of creator communities. Don't DM me saying I need to talk about the latest drama in the never-ending explosions of drama, and this guy doesn't like that guy, and this girl doesn't like that girl, and this guy doesn't like this girl, and it's unfair, and yada yada yada. I don't care. Have your YouTube Bizarroville. I don't care. If you spend dozens of hours on YouTube fighting with other people, go for it. I don't care. I'm just going to do my little Iconic Comics 2023 preview stream from now on because it's just insanity. So here's what I was talking about. Now on the left-hand side, let me first catch up to some people. There were some people that were tuning in, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Jim Tuner is here. Thanks for tuning in. Scribbles, thanks for tuning in. Mr. Mill, thanks for tuning in. There was somebody else. Substance D, thanks for tuning in. Lord Apex says, looking forward to Warcry arriving. Now, Warcry heads up because I don't want to get into that. So, long story short, Warcry is an issue. I want you to be thinking about this. There's the Eternal Flame at Arlington Cemetery, and there's been an event that happened that knocked out people. They are unconscious. The Eternal Flame has turned blue, just like the match in Demon's Match. And Father Redder is called in, and the generals and the officers are like, these people are unconscious. We don't know what's happened. Can you help us out? Do you know what the heck's going on? And Father Redder gets the details, and he's like, basically like, yeah, it's a throwback to Soulfinder Demon's Match. And then Father Redder says, hey, when I get close to this flame, I might slump over, just like Demon's Match, and I might be out for 3 hours. If I'm out, i.e. unconscious, call Father Crane. So Father Redder goes towards the Eternal Flame, and there's another body that's unconscious there, and all of a sudden he is engulfed in blue flame, again, just like Demon's Match, and he wakes up in this, again, he's engulfed in blue flame, and there's people that are using blue weapons, just like Demon's Match on the spiritual plane, and he then teaches them how to use the weapons, yada, yada. Some of this, pseudo spoiler, but I've showed pictures. Anyway, that's the mindset you gotta be in, and there's a woman of interest who is in the spiritual plane with Father Redder, and he needs to help her out. So check it out. I hope you like it. Let me know what you think. All right, Dennis Chaconis here says, what's up? What's up? Let's see. There's been a lot of comments here, so I'm catching up here. Let's see. Mark Pellegrini, stop working hard and get back in the crab bucket. You and Tim are just like going 100. You guys are like a freight train with like creative content or whatever. And I'm in my little Yaris here, just driving down the street like, yeah, Soulfinder or whatever. So, no, I definitely look up to Tim and Mark. They are an example that I, hopefully one day I can get to 3 books a year, but that might be far off. Mr. Grohovac says, rich dad, poor dad guy says debt is money if you have 5 to 6K real estate properties used for rent. Yeah, the rich dad, poor dad author. Well, I can't think of his name right now. It was like, I can't think of his name right now. But yeah, his commentary on using debt in ways to forward your own businesses and how debt can be a good thing. He does say a lot of good things about that. Now, there is bad debt as well, but I firmly agree that there is such a thing as good debt. You just need to be able to discern which is good and which is bad. And if you can discern the good debt, then go for it. And if you make calculated risks, then it could pay off big for you. But the problem is most people, they don't want to take that risk. And that's the thing. That gets into the other creators that are like, he's not really doing anything special, blah, 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 blah. And then there was somebody else I was talking to. I don't want to get into that. But long story short, I took on a huge amount of risk with these books. So when people want to like try and kneecap you, and they want to come up with like bizarro stories about you after you have taken on humongous amounts of risks, then it's like, hey, why doesn't Doug like that guy? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I took on $100,000 worth of risk, and then, persons X, Y, and Z tried to run my reputation through the dirt as soon as I took on a humongous amount of risk on my family. Yeah, maybe I might not like that guy too much. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Let's see. It sounds like a commie community to me. Let's see. People hanging out all day in live streams and not working are not a creative community. Yeah, no, like sometimes people are like, hey, Doug, did you hear about X, Y, and Z? It's like, nah, man, I was literally at the UPS store and I was mailing out books to international, readers. I was mailing out a Word on Fire Bible to a Doug Prize winner, the Doug Prize surprise. I was answering emails and all this sort of stuff. I was negotiating with our printer, because there's all sorts of things that happen behind the scenes with printers that people don't even know about. So if you want to get books out on time, you got to be on the ball with your printer. And if something goes wrong with one of the books, then you got to renegotiate. And you have to be like, okay, well, we had X percentage of books that were not up to the quality control standards that we implement here, both on Team Soulfinder and at Iconic Comics. And the number of books that are damaged exceeds what we would expect. It exceeds 2% of the books. Now, how are you going to rectify this situation because we have X percentage that are damaged or that were misprinted with some sort of, blistering or whatnot on the cover? What are we going to do about this or whatever? So that takes up a lot of my time. Not a lot of my time, but every day there are things in terms of engaging with readers, talking to printers, talking about prices with people, talking with Iconic Comics about stuff. I don't have time to be goofing around on live streams every day, getting all up to date on everybody's internal drama, deals. I literally don't. And then it's like, you have people who are like, Doug, again, you got to comment on this, Doug. Why? I don't know. I don't know half of it. I'm not going to just spout off on something where I don't even know what the heck is going on, or if I know like 5% of what's going on and you want me to scroll through people's like Twitter feeds for like hours to try and piece together the mystery of the latest drama du jour. I'm not doing that. Like, get out of here. Don't. Stop, please leave me alone. Let's see. Riserman, thanks for tuning in. Star Productions. Matt says, what WTF is a Yaris? You don't know what a Yaris is? It's the car that I've had for over a decade, a Toyota Yaris. So when my wife was at school, we had a long distance marriage because I was in the DC, Northern Virginia, Northern Maryland area, and my wife was 400 miles away. And I don't want to say broke at the time, but things were tight in the Ernst household back in the day. When I was working at the newspaper or I was working at the nonprofit organization, and I had to drive to see my wife, 800-mile round trip, at least once a month, sometimes multiple times a month. I would go on like Friday nights, and I would say Friday, Saturday, and then I would drive home Sunday night to my little tiny apartment that I rented out, and I needed gas mileage that was good. So I got a Toyota Yaris, and it's always been good to me. And I love my Toyota Yaris. People make fun of me for my Toyota Yaris. They call it the Flintstone Mobile or whatever. I don't care, because it was there for me when I was poor and I needed to see my wife. I wanted and needed to see my wife, who was many, many miles away. So I look back fondly, like that. Those were some dark days, but I also looked back fondly on them. They were dark because I literally lived in a situation that was called the Do Dungeon. So there were some guys that I rented out the house from, and they were generally nice guys. but I was the zoo animal because I was the only Catholic guy in the house. But anyway, these guys, they would do video game stuff, and they literally had an entire wall of Mountain Dew. It literally went all the way like to the ceiling of across the whole wall of Mountain Dew. And they would just like do their video games, and then they would drink Mountain Dew all the time. They had special flavors. They had updates, like email updates about when the new flavor was going to come out, and then they would go and they would get it. And I don't even know what all the flavors are. Who knows? Anyway, I was all alone. My wife was far away. I was in this tiny little room. I was the zoo animal, with these guys. And again, fairly nice, but it was weird. And and then there was a thing, I don't want to get into that, but it was a bad situation. And my other friend was like, he just called it the Dew Dungeon. And then he was like, when are you going to get out of the Dew Dungeon, Doug? And I was like, I gotta just live with my wife, man. This is taking its toll on me. So anyway, we got through that with the Yaris. And to this day, I still have it. It's got well over 100,000 miles on it now. And so yeah, I will defend the Yaris forever. Draw and Talk is here. Hail to the chat, he says. Actually, Tyler, I was just talking about earlier. You might want to tune in about the debate that was going on. I did not see this debate. So if I screwed up something, I don't know. I just know that there was a debate between doing the projects up front or whether or not, crowdfunding and this and that and the other thing. And so my stance was, I don't have a thing against crowdfunding. I have friends that crowdfund. I'm open to crowdfunding, but please, people out there, if you denigrate me for not crowdfunding, then I might have to speak up on occasion and defend my decisions. Xander is here, says howdy, howdy, howdy. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Neostar Productions says that the Dew is a lot of gamer fuel. I'm telling you, I should have took pictures of it. It was an entire wall of Mountain Dew, like larger than the grocery store. If you ever see some sort of weird Dew special or something like that, it was out of a dream, but it was real, and it was a lot of Mountain Dew. So I feel bad for their teeth. Their dentist is probably getting a lot of business because you cannot drink that amount of Mountain Dew and not have your teeth corrode. So anyway, like I was saying, Godfo Universe, deliver quality, deliver quickly. Now, sometimes people, what they will do is they will pretend that you're not delivering quality and that you're only delivering quickly. The key to everything is to make sure the quality is up to standard, and then you try to be as efficient as possible in terms of getting your books where the books need to be. Matt, earlier you were talking about not sure what books to get. If you're still unsure, or if you have questions about anything, just shoot me a line, and I'm happy to talk about the books. Now, the Alejandro Mirabal hardcover there are fewer than 50 copies left for sure. I do have a little private stash for shows this year and international customers. If that were to sell out and you wanted the Alejandro Mirabal hardcover, Matt, just shoot me a line and I will set one aside for you because I've known you for a long time. Let's see. Jim Tuner, if we lose crowdfunding, we will not be able to save comics and democracy will fail or something. Yeah, don't get me going down that road. That would be interesting. Let's see. Draw and Talk. My stance at the end of the day, whatever model you choose, just make the books and get it to the customers. Yeah. And then there's people that they don't even like when you call the customers customers for some reason. I don't understand. They are readers, but I have people that just buy, not just buy the rosaries, but they're buying the rosary. So if they're buying the rosary and they're not buying a book for whatever reason that day, they are a customer. So If you're selling more than just books at some point in time, I need to talk about customers. So whenever I see people are like, why do you call them customers? Because they're a customer. And now here's the thing. People say, I'll try and be balanced here. People say the customer is always right. The customer is not always right. The onus is on you as the creator to be respectful as possible to the customer, but the customer is not always right. Sometimes they are very, very wrong. Sometimes they are irrational. Sometimes they're just downright mean. But as the writer, as the creator, as the guy who's selling a product, if they are being irrational and mean and nasty, I have the option of just not responding anymore. It's better to say nothing than to say something that you regret and you cannot take back later. So when in doubt, I usually will opt for silence, because the worst someone can say is, Doug went silent on me. Yeah, because you were being a jerk. You were being unreasonable. And that's why I was silent. So, and no one's gonna be like, oh wow, Doug didn't say something. Jim Tuner says you need to treat customers with respect, not blindly do whatever they say. Yeah, and there are some customers that want you to blindly do whatever they say, and you have to tactfully let them know, like, listen, I respect you. I am grateful that you would even consider purchasing my books or my rosary or whatever it is. I'm very grateful for that. But I don't need to jump through hoops for you. I don't need to clap like a seal when you tell me to do that. And so, yeah, sometimes we're just going to have a difference of opinion. Let's see. Mr. Mill says, if you're having trouble with printers or whatever, at least communicate that with your customers. Also, constantly work to solve the problem rather than throwing your hands up in frustration. Yeah, no, I don't think our printer that I dealt with, it was an API. API did not do this particular book. I'm open to using, that's a whole other long story. But anyway, we had a different printer for Infinite Ascent hardcovers than API this time around. And the printer was like, Doug, again, I don't think this individual would mind me saying this. She was like, I really appreciate that when there are issues, you are solution oriented. You try and find a way to turn lemons into lemonade or whatnot. And so, yeah, with printing, print it. If you think that there is drama in indie comics, from what I'm not involved in printing drama, but the printing world is cutthroat. They have their own whole soap opera of drama going on. And one day, if there's a way I could figure out how to tell the story in a way that does not disrespect individuals or out certain individuals, like, I wish I could give people a clue into the world of printing, because it's very interesting. And so as a creator who's trying to get these books done, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and that's a minefield on its own. So, but here's the thing. So sometimes I see people, other creators, and they're just like, they will use the printer as the excuse for everything. And they're just straight up like lying. I hate to tell you. Sometimes people are saying, like, they're coming up with printer stories, and you're like, that's not true, or you're exaggerating that. I know, because I deal with printers, but I'm not gonna call out, it's none of my business. A lot of stuff is just not my business. And it's like, okay, if their customers, if their readers are gullible enough to believe every excuse under the sun, like, that's on them, man. But I have faith that the Soulfinder readers, they're a little bit, they're sharper. They're a little bit more on the ball. Again, I'm biased, but hopefully in watching my videos and looking at my Twitter feed and the Iconic Comics and Tim and Mark and what they're doing, people will be able to be like, well, I don't understand why. I mean, Doug and Tim and Mark and Eric Canetti and all these guys, they keep putting out books, but they don't have the same excuses as all these other guys. Like something's not adding up here. The math is not right. The accounting isn't right. And they could come to their own conclusions about who's telling them the truth and who's not telling them, who's trying to finagle things to their advantage and all this sort of stuff. Mr. Mill, exactly. I think too many people give up too early, easily. You can always negotiate. That's another thing, is negotiating skills are key to a lot of stuff. People, I've seen people be like, how is he able to sell the books at that cost? Like it's incredibly low. And I've said before, I've been in the room with Tim when he was dealing with printers. He is a master negotiator. Why? Because he does his homework. He does the math. He does the things that are not sexy in terms of looking at the raw data. And then when he walks into a room with somebody who tries to tell him, this is the number that we want to give you, he can say, no, you should give me this number because X, Y, and Z. And when you have the hard math in front of you, they can't argue it. And if you have the sales, if you have the track record to say, this is what I'm going to do moving forward, you see the volume of books that I'm going to print, you see the amount of money that I'm spending with you, you darn well can afford to give me this price. And if they're honest, if they have integrity, then you're going to get a better deal. But not everybody is able to negotiate like Timothy Lim. I am nowhere near as good as Tim because Tim pays far more attention to detail than I do. I am more along the lines of, listen, let's just figure it out. I don't need to see the numbers. Can we just all please just do the right thing by everybody here? And then I usually will give a big picture thing. I'll say, listen, you know I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to spend this amount of money on, like, for the next however many years with you. You know that this is the case. Hook me up with a fair deal. It's not even a hookup if it's a fair deal, like just for real. And then usually, for the most part, when I talk to people like that and I have, a decent amount of numbers beside me, then they'll be like, okay, here's what we can do. And then we like meet in the middle and it's fine or whatever. So, but a lot of people don't do that. They don't want to have tough conversations. They don't want to have conflict. They don't want to just have to straight up tell people things that they don't want to hear. And I don't like having conversations. Here's the other thing is typically if I get angry at someone, I will say, listen, I am on the verge of exploding right now. I don't want to scream. I don't want to swear. I don't want to hurl expletives. I don't want to be that guy. But you know this is messed up. Do the right thing. Seriously. And typically, when you approach people like that and they know that you're a quiet person, but you're on the verge of exploding, they will then do the right thing. But then I was telling my wife, I don't understand why I have to get angry. I don't understand why I have to. So here's an example of this that I could talk about. When I was applying to the University of Southern California as a young man after I got out of the military, I got put into this list where they're like, we want you at the school, but we want to see that you've, because I screwed off in high school in math and science classes, I did really well in English. I did really well in social studies, in like civics type classes. Boom. Did great on those. In math, I would fall asleep. I would not do my homework. I almost never did my homework. I would show up for the test. I'd get like a C- on the test and all this sort of stuff. So when I wanted to go to the University of Southern California, they're like, dude, you got to show that you can do the math. You got to show that you can do science and that you're not an idiot. And I was like, okay. So I was taking these math and science classes and I was getting A's in all of them. And then they were like, okay, well, can you get a couple more? Can you get a couple more? Then you can get so I kept taking biology classes, different math classes, everything. I kept getting A's and A's and A's and A's and A's. And they were still just kept going. And then finally, I like called this lady and I was like, what the F is going on? You're just screwing me over. Like, why do you keep telling me, like, a few more and a few more and a few more and a few more? And I keep doing it. What? And I was like swearing and I was just like, I was screaming. And I like hung up the phone because I think it was like a voicemail or whatever. And then like a day later or a week later, they're like, hey, you're in the University of Southern California. We processed your stuff or whatever. And then I was just like, why? Why did I have to explode on this woman who was like nice enough in general to say that they did want me at the school? They could have just rejected me. But they were like, listen, the personal statement that you released, it was so well written that even though that you didn't do well in like math and science, we really liked your personal statement. So like we kind of wanted you. So that was a situation where like, I basically owned up to all of my failures to USC. I was like, listen, here's the deal. I'm pretty sharp when it comes to the wordsmithing thing. I'm pretty good when it comes to the English thing. I know what I'm doing here, but I effed up. I did not do my homework in math and science. And it screwed me over. I screwed myself over, but I am serious now. I was overseas. I was in the army. I had a lot of time to think about all the ways that I was a moron and I just was not disciplined. And I'm sorry. I have been kicking myself for years for all of my own behaviors that were just not conducive to success. But I am ready and I am focused and I'm going to show you that I am serious about this. And that was my personal statement. And that was what basically got me in to college where I met my future wife. So someone said something about Jesus. Let's see. Jim says, flipping over tables, or was it Jim? I don't know who it was. Someone said, oh no, Dennis, even Jesus had to flip tables over. No, I was going to say Jesus moved the pieces in my favor to get me into school where I met my future wife. I mean, I obviously had to own up to, again, my failures, but God's fingerprints have been all over my life in ways where it's like, there was some guy I saw on Twitter the other day and he was just talking about like, what was he going to say? He was like, God, I never see God, or like something weird like that. And I was like, I see God every single day, dude. Every time I wake up, I see miracles all around me. What are you talking about? Mr. Mill, Iconic Comics is going full throttle in 2023. A lot of other indie creators are increasing momentum. Looking at Draw and Talk and Tyler. Yeah, I know Tyler's been on the ball. I know he's always doing literally hundreds of pages of all sorts of stuff. And I'm looking forward to what, how readers are going to respond to his efforts this year. I know he's a very, very, very hard worker. Let's see. Let's see. Jim says, these could almost be called. Oh yeah, I don't want to get into. You don't want to, set up. Other people are looking for any opportunity to bash me. So I got to be careful about how I respond to certain things. But going back to the indie comic creator community thing. So like I was saying, every once in a while, someone will follow me. This guy, BC, followed me the other day. I was like, oh, who's BC? Okay, blah, blah, blah. We'll check it out. And then I will see all these people in the mainstream industry blocked. And then if you just keep going down, blocked, writer, artist, whoever, Green Lantern, blocked, the colorist, Marvel, blocked. I don't even know who these people are. Nicole here, Eisner nominated, blocked. There's usually some more. You just keep going down and you will find. Oh, here's another little. Let's see. Writer, editor, don't know who these people are. blocked, 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 blocked. Billionaire eradication crew. That's probably a good thing that this person blocked me. Yeah, and a lot. Chip Zdarsky. Chip, man. Come on, Chip. I don't even like. Tagia, thanks for tuning in. Chip Zdarsky, Al Ewing, blocked. These are people that have blocked me. Now, when they block me, I will block them back. That's for sure. Let's see. Variant edition graphic novels, blocked. And like I was saying, a lot of the times these, here we go. It's transgender individuals. They have pronouns in the bio. I'm on some sort of list, some like LGBTQ plus LMNOP list of like this guy. You got to block this guy or something. So it's like again, if you're just tuning in and out, when people are like, Doug, you need to be a part of the indie creator community. The indie comic creator community hates my guts. Like a large percentage of them on the left and on the right. They don't like me. Why don't they like me? There's a number of reasons. But one of the reasons is because I do the books up front and then I put the books out. A lot of these people, these individuals, they are oftentimes complaining about not getting work, about not being able to meet their financial needs. They don't understand why their crowdfunder is not going the way that they thought it was going to go. They have like 25 people that back their crowdfunder. I don't know if this person is one of those Screen Rant or whatever, but a lot of these creators, I draw comics when I'm not sleeping. Okay, well, whatever. They really don't like comic artists at DC, Image, Marvel. Yeah, they don't like what I'm doing. They don't like what Iconic Comics is doing. Here's the deal. A lot of these people in the mainstream industry, it's actually a good thing. In many ways, it's a good thing that they've just blocked and shut up about you. Their silence speaks volumes. They don't want to draw attention to Matt Weldon's art. They don't want to draw attention to Bill Williams. They don't want to draw attention to what Eric Canetti is doing. They don't want to draw attention to Tim and Mark. Because if they did, people would be able to accurately compare Common America, Black Ops, Arc Athena, Soulfinder, Punchline, on and on and on to what they're doing. And they don't want you to be able to draw attention to what they're doing. I don't know, who's this guy? DC, Image, Dark Horse, IDW. Yeah, so it's like, all right, Micah, you want to block me? I don't even know who the heck you are. I never said a thing about you. But with the pronoun people that blocked me, the only thing I could think of is that, like, I'm a practicing Catholic guy because I don't talk about trans stuff. I don't really talk about LGBT stuff. I really don't. Now, if you want me to talk about trans stuff, if you want me to talk about Frankenstein sex genitals and things like that, I can do that, but I'm not. If you really want me to go down that road, if you want to make me into the enemy, and but as I was telling someone else the other day, that if you want, how do I say it? If you want to bring people closer to God, you generally don't want to immediately put them on the defensive. If you want them to enter into a relationship with their creator, the first thing that you say to somebody shouldn't essentially boil down the Bible to a sex manual. Now, I can have that conversation in terms of all sorts of things if specifically asked. But if I'm just meeting someone for the first time, you almost always, but you don't want to say always, but most of the time you don't want to start throwing punches at people and put them on the defensive and this sort of thing, because they're going to dig in their heels, they're just going to reject it or whatnot. So you need to find, everybody is at a different place. Everybody is going to the same place. You will eventually go to your creator, but there's multiple roads there, and they're all individualized. Your creator has a very specific path for you that will wind up there when you step into eternity. And so if everybody's at a different place, what resonates with me in terms of messaging is not going to resonate with the other guy. So you need to be very careful and try and discern how is the best way to reach this person. You don't want to necessarily come out swinging and, oh, geez. Heather on toast. All right. You don't want to necessarily come out swinging at people because, there we go. X-Men Unlimited, Philip, I don't know, whatever, dude. He, him. Again, I'm on the list, some sort of list somewhere, because how are these people? I'm usually just doing my own thing. I don't know. But like I said, they don't want to draw attention to what's going on in Iconic Comics. They don't want to draw attention to Long Harbor. They don't want attention to Alejandro Mirabal. He's actually doing things in video games right now, but you get the point. So if you see the Dave Dorman hardcover and you see the quality that we put into it with the gilded pages and the ribbons and all this sort of stuff, and then the quality of the story and the quality of the art and all of this, you compare it to what they're doing. I mean, you know why they want you blocked. They don't want to see the truth, because this is like a mirror to them, and it's going to show you. Similarly, I like to look at what other people are doing because I can see where I'm falling short. You want to look in the mirror because you want to see where your flaws are so you can fix your flaws. Hey, all, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. So anyway, there's that. I won't cover too much of this, but if you have not seen the Project Veritas stuff on what's going on with Pfizer and directed evolution and all of that, you definitely want to check that out when you get a chance. Very interesting stuff. I guess I could just end with Joe Scarborough. This dude, he got all of his shots. He got all of his booster shots. And then he came down and he was sick for 3 months with COVID. And then he came on and he was talking about how he's upset he didn't get his 4th booster shot. And basically people that are not just like him, and they got all the shots and they got all the boosters, they're a bunch of idiots. They're a quote unquote morons. He literally, moron. Dude, everything that I said about COVID years ago, which originated right next to a bioweapons lab in China. Everything I said about mRNA vaccines years ago, they are now admitting, guys like me and probably a number of people that are watching right now, we were right. But we're the morons? We're morons. Okay. I got COVID twice. The first time sucked, for sure. The second time, sadly, I ended up giving it to Mark Pellegrini. Sorry, Mark. I think I may have given it to Tim as well, but Tim already had it as well. Anyway, the second time I basically had the flu for like three days, and then it was done, or whatever. My natural immunity did what it was supposed to do. But according to Joe here, I'm a moron because I have taken 0 shots. I'm a moron? Okay. But you're now admitting that everything I said was true. In terms of needing a booster, you need to get a booster every single year. Apparently, multiple times a year. Like he said something like every 6 months it wears off or whatever. I don't care. The point is, using basic biology that I learned in middle school, I was just talking earlier, I didn't even pay attention half the time. But the biology that I did learn, basic biology, would tell you that if you're trying to come up with a vaccine that is essentially similar in nature and makeup to the common cold, that you're not going to get a one-shot silver bullet vaccine out of that. And if you're trying to do it with mRNA things with no long-term studies, that's probably not a good idea. Or maybe someone like me that was like, you know what, I'm going to hold off on this one. Thanks, but no thanks. Maybe you shouldn't call me a moron. Maybe all the stuff that's coming out these days about side effects, possible side effects, risk factors that I talked about years ago, now you are finally acknowledging it. Maybe you shouldn't have demonized me during the pandemic, dude. But they can't help themselves. They got to keep, essentially, they're the ones, they move the goalpost and then they continue to demonize you. So keep doing that, dude. Keep doing it. I'm at 0. I'm going to stay at 0. But here's the thing. I got to be careful about what I say. World governments, corrupt world governments, they saw how the world reacted to all of this. They saw the freedoms and the liberties that were curtailed and stripped away from people with COVID. If you don't think that they are licking their chops at the possibility of another virus that's worse, these people are evil. I don't like to use evil nonchalantly. They're evil, but I promise you, they're rubbing their hands together in sick, disgusting glee at the idea of another outbreak with a higher death toll because they can consolidate power. You telling me that China and some of these other regimes, they don't hold the same values that we hold. They don't care. They just care about power. And a virus is the perfect opportunity to be like, especially when they're engineered and they can blame it on nature. We don't know where it came from. We don't know. Where did it come from? We'll figure that out later. Just do what you're told right now. Just lock down. Just stop driving your cars. Just get the shots that we tell you to get. All this sort of stuff. I mean, again, I said when the pandemic first broke, I was like, these people, they are going to learn all the wrong lessons from this, and they are happy. Most people cannot comprehend how twisted these people are because they only care about power and influence. They're happy, and they saw what an engineered virus can do in terms of creating and stoking fear in massive populations. And once you have people that are scared and afraid, they will fall in line with authority very, very quickly. They will do what they're told. If they fear for their life and they see an authority figure that says, you will survive if you do what I tell you to do, then they will do it. Especially if they are weak-minded people that lack critical thinking skills, they will do what they're told when an authority figure tells them. Even if the authority figure is corrupt and evil, but that figure is seen as somebody that can preserve their life, they will fall in line. So sorry to get all heavy at the end here, but Joe Scarborough, and all of these people, they are carrying the water for corrupt, evil people. You want to know why the mainstream comic book industry doesn't like me? Another reason, it's because they all agree with Joe, and they hate it. The little clips that they've seen here and there over the years of me saying stuff like this, they really don't like that. But I'm telling you the truth. So if you want to block me, mainstream industry, for telling people the truth, then oh well. But I have your best interest in heart. I'm looking after your long-term interest. I'm looking after not only your physical being, your corporal body, I'm looking after your soul. I care about you. I really do. And if you want to think I'm the bad guy for telling you what's up with these corrupt governments, godless communist Chinese governments, I'm telling you the truth. On that note, that cheery note, legit cheery note. A lot of stuff coming out from Iconic Comics this year. If you just tune in, again, starting out the year right, Soulfinder Infinite Ascent hardcovers. We're coming out. Arc Athena, Eric Canetti, Volume 3 soon, Common America Volume 7, Common America the manga, Black Hops Volume 6, Soulfinder Volume 4, Saddle Stitch, if all goes well. Matt Weldon is on the ball. He's like 90% done with his Black Hop stuff. Dude, this is... the momentum is going. You know what? Last year, there were people that tried to stop the momentum of Iconic Comics. Hey, good job. You poisoned the well for a couple months last year. Yay for you. But guess what? You can't stop the content train. The content keeps coming. And if it's quality content and it's delivered efficiently to happy readers, you can't stop the momentum. So, man, I am super psyched about this year. I'm super psyched about Tim, Mark, Eric, Matt Weldon, Bill Williams. I'm psyched about my own projects. Alejandro Mirabal, man, we need to get you back. Long Harbor 2. Make it happen, man. But anyway, thanks again to everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Follow Tim on Twitter. Follow Eric. Follow Mark. Follow Bill. Follow Matt. Follow me. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about Soulfinder, Infinite Center, Warcry, or anything else, or rosaries, you shoot me a line at douglasernst@douglasernst.blog. Check it out. If you haven't got the hardcover, check it out. All right, guys, I'll see you later. Thanks again for tuning in. Appreciate it. See you.